Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. In this very small stream, we're going to do a couple things. So I've been meaning to give away my copy of Cartographers for hitting 500 subscribers now that we've had some time to let that stabilize, since YouTube's a little bit finicky at times. But we're also going to have a small chat about the baseball simulators now that it's been kind of a crazy month on that front. So once again, thank you guys for giving my content a chance over the course of the 500 videos. So let's jump right in. So as many of you know, if you saw the video on the channel, I was giving away a copy of Cartographers on the channel. And the way you entered the giveaway for that was I'd posted a video announcing the 500 subscriber giveaway. You would enter the way you'd enter that video, the giveaway, is you'd leave a like on that video and then leave a comment talking about a season that you wanted to see potentially replayed on the channel. It was a baseball season. Yes, happy 500, Lower Slower. Thanks for stopping by. So let's check out those comments that we got. Oop, here's the one we want. All right, so DJ John4444 stopped by and weighed in that he really enjoyed what I'm doing. He especially likes Mystical Munchies. He's a 70s guy, so he votes for 1978. I own 1978, looking at my collection in Payoff Pitch Baseball. So that's a season that's going on the list. Now, let me back up a little bit and talk about the list that I'm talking about. So the way I'm going to do my replays for baseball seasons is I'm going to do 2 replays per year. I'm going to do one that I call that's basically an executive pick, where I'm going to pick the season that I want to do. And then the other season is you guys will help me select that season via season selection and reveal shows. Now, this gives you guys a voice in the seasons that are played on the channel, but it also gives me a way to say, okay, we're maybe doing too much of one system, or we're doing, well, maybe not too much, but let's say 2 seasons in a row of, let's say APA, for instance, or 2 1980s seasons in a row. Doing it this way gives me a way, again, it gives you guys a voice in the selection, but it gives me a way to say, okay, let's mix it up a little bit. So if we're doing, say, 2 80s seasons in a row or 2 APA seasons in a row, then I use the executive pick as a way to say, okay, we're going to venture into a different system, or we're going to venture into a different decade. So that's the plan with that. Let's tab back over to the comments. Then Larry Mullins is weighing in on congrats on almost 500 subs. He's thinking maybe a mid-80s season replay, 1984 or 85, go Expos. 1984, I also own in Payoff Pitch Baseball, just double checking my notes. As for 1985, I own that in both Season Ticket and Inside Pitch Baseball. And as a matter of fact, 1985 is going to be the next season I do, as I'm planning on starting that January 1st of next year. The only thing I haven't decided yet is what system that's going to be in. If you're asking me right now, it's probably going to be in Season Ticket, but I'm not completely sure on that yet. I'm going to do a little bit more testing with that before I make the final decision. But like I said, the way I'm leaning right now is towards Season Ticket, just because the last stream of Inside Pitch that I did gave me a lot of fits. I was not happy at all with how the Inside Pitch game was going. And Jester weighs in that I keep growing, which is good. 500 subscribers will be here soon. It is here. A 2005 baseball replay is his suggestion, which I own in APA Baseball. So another system that I can toss in there. And the way we're going to give away Cartographers is I've actually got a wheel of names with everybody who entered the giveaway. So we're going to give that a spin, and we'll see who wins a copy of Cartographers. And it is DJ John4444 who wins. So congrats on that. I'll pin a comment with my, let me just make a note here. I'll pin a comment in the video with my email address, so you can get in touch with me for your address, and I'll get that shipped out to you probably sometime this week. I'll be in touch with all of that. But let's bring it back up top, and we'll talk a little bit about the baseball simulators. So I mentioned some problems I was having with Inside Pitch. If I had to, and I actually did my first stream with Stratomatic Baseball on Saturday morning, which gave me a bit of a fit as well, but it wasn't the rage-inducing frustration that I had with Inside Pitch. It was more a case of it was more of a case of, okay, I'm still kind of learning this game, but I was also doing testing in that video of Digital Diamond as my stat keeping program. I know Jester has suggested Replay Baseball and made no bones about the fact that he likes Replay Baseball. And of course, I respect his opinion on that immensely, but I've decided I'm going to go with Digital Diamond as my stat keeping program, just because Digital Diamond gives me so many more seasons. It really gives me every season I could ever want. My collection is going to most likely stay within that 1970 to 2019 wheelhouse. And Digital Diamond gives me all of those seasons. Whereas with Replay, it's very sporadic on the seasons they have. I think it's everything in the 2010s. Let me pull up Firefox here and I will double check that. But I'm pretty sure with, like I said, I know Replay is sporadic, but I don't remember what the actual... I don't remember what the season availability is on, and I'm starting to have problems with dropped frames. Delightful. Anyway, let's see if we can tab in here. Okay, so it looks like Replay goes from 2013 to 2005, and then it cuts off until 98. Then 93, 91. So yeah, it's very sporadic. And that fact is what really bothers me in terms of trying to get into Replay Baseball. So it didn't really make sense to me to say, okay, if a season's in Replay Baseball, I'm going to use it there and then have to learn Digital Diamond anyway for the seasons that aren't available in Replay Baseball. So I figure for me at least, it'll be easier to learn to actually just use Digital Diamond as my stat keeping software. Plus, I've got the new laptop that I've been streaming on, so that'll make it a lot easier, where I know Jester's talked about this, where having to bring the keyboard in with Digital Diamond was a pain for him. Whereas for me, I keep the laptop off shot, so I can just move to that and then put in my plays. And most of the time, it wasn't too terribly obnoxious to get the play in question that I needed. So for those reasons, I'm going to go with Digital Diamond as my stat keeping program. As far as the main systems themselves, your season tickets, your payoff pitches, your inside pitches, stuff like that. My current ranking coming out of my last few replays has been number 1 and 1A, and which is which really depends, between payoff pitch and season ticket. And admittedly, a lot of why payoff pitch ranks so high is because I spent a lot of time with that when I was doing my 1991 season replay. I did the regular season off the channel, and then brought the playoffs on channel for a final form of testing in terms of how I could make the schedule work for eventual season blocks. So payoff pitch and season ticket right now I would say are 1 and 1A. 2 I would say right now is probably going to be, I think 2 right now is actually going to surprise you, and it's going to be APBA. Most of the reason for that is it's such a simple system to learn. The price does really bother me, especially when I need to get a hold of the extra players as well. So that's a little bit of food for thought there. And then Stratomatic is going to be kind of the next system, just because I'm still learning that one. I do have the 2013 extra players, and I've got 2007 with the extra players en route as well. And then Inside Pitch is currently the bottom of my list right now. Like I said, just such a rage-inducing stream that I had with that. An Inside Pitch for me is a game where I'm feeling very conflicted around that. On the one hand, in terms of narrative focus, Inside Pitch really does everything that I could want in a baseball game, but there's been such torture for me to learn that because there's so much to get into. And that's what I like about APBA and Stratomatic, where they've got the basic game that you can start off with to get the feel for the game, even though with Strat, I basically just ended up going right to Advanced and mixed in a little bit of Super Advanced with the base running, with the base stealing, the box pickoffs, wild pitches, all of that good stuff, and the Super Advanced fielding right away. And it actually seems pretty straightforward with Stratomatic, so not too many problems there. Whereas Inside Pitch doesn't really have that option, where, to me at least, Inside Pitch basically just throws you right into the fire, essentially, and you have to go with it and basically learn everything in one shot. There's no real easy way to break it down to say, okay, in this session I'm going to focus on the base running, or in this session I'm going to focus on errors, or what have you. So there's no real way to break it down like that, where I feel like you just have to learn everything essentially for inside pitch, and that's kind of scared me off a little bit from inside pitch, to the point where I'm now starting to purge some of my inside pitch seasons and move them into some other systems, for just to give me a little bit of variety in the collection. So now let's talk a little bit about some of my general musings on sports games. On the channel so far, I've put baseball, football, hockey, boxing, and golf. Of those 5 sports, the only ones I'm not happy with are football and hockey. The main problem for both of those is they're just, to me at least, they're a complete sprawling mess, especially football, when you've got cards flying everywhere. And even with Inside Blitz Football, when I put that on the channel, I did not like how long it was taking me to resolve plays. I also got into 5D20 Football as a potential game that I wanted to put on the channel, but maybe I'm still learning that one a little bit, but that seemed like it was going to be so much more. It seemed like it was more complicated than having the presence of the team sheets would indicate for you. 5D20 Football is from Inside Sports Games, for those of you who might not be familiar with that. So I'm not sure how much more with football I'm going to do on the channel moving forward, or potentially even off channel. I'll have to give that a little bit of thought. As for hockey, the only way I've gotten to a layout where I'm happy with it, well, I'm at least somewhat happy with it, is with Inside the Crease, where I had all 4 of my lines and all of my defensive pairings laid out, with the fast action deck in the middle of the screen. It was probably a lot for you guys to look at as you were watching that. And the way I was managing the line changes there was I had pink blocks off to the side of both teams, where it's like, okay, when I need to change a pairing, I go move the block down to the next line and defensive pairing, and hey, look at that, lines are changed, and we go on to the next play. With APA Hockey, I was using like card binder sheets that I'd cut up and put the lines in there, where it was just whenever I needed to make a line change, just turn the lines over, turn the defensive pairings over, and you're ready to go. You're ready to go with the next group there. Even that was a little bit. That was manageable, but I think with APA Hockey, the problem I was having was there was so much going on in that game, and it was very hard for me to kind of get into the flow of the game, because I had to keep stopping and checking my ODAI and my intimidation, all the other stats like that. That's why if you noticed my last couple of plays of APA Hockey on the channel, I was actually starting to keep a stat card similar to what I do with Inside Pitch to help me track the arm modifiers, and I even did something for Inside Blitz with that as well. But even with that, the APA Hockey just didn't really flow for me all that well, because again, you have to stop and be like, okay, what's the ODAI, or what's the intimidation, or what's the clearing, whatever. So I just never really got to a place with football and hockey where I liked how those were laying out on the channel. Whereas with your baseball, your golf, and your boxing games, I was happy with how those laid out on the channel. Whereas with baseball, I've got the layout's kind of evolved in what I've started with in baseball. So I've got the board, I've got the What About Baseball board that I use to help keep the atmosphere. Then I've got a scoreboard behind that I use to track the innings and the runs for the game. And then when I do my lineups, I've got like a Tableau layout where I can lay all of my players out so I can see what I need at a glance. Golf, of course, has at least with APA Golf, you've got the book that you flip to the next hole. ASG and Inside the Cup Golf, when I eventually get that to the channel, are going to be more like your traditional books. Maybe books isn't the word I want. Welcome in, Doug. I'm just kind of chatting a little bit about the sports games I've been putting on the channel. So we drew the giveaway already for cartographers on that. We drew the giveaway for cartographers first, so now we're just kind of shooting the breeze about sports games on the channel. And I was talking about how with golf, at least with APA Golf, I've got the book of the course or the sheets on the courses where I'm liking how. Let me take a drink of my Crystal Light here because my throat's starting to get a little dry. Much better. Anyway, So with ASG and Inside the Cup Golf, the courses are printed out on cardstock, so it'll be just as easy as flip the last hole over, go to the next hole, and away you go there. So I'm not too worried about how those two games, at least with Inside the Cup Golf, I'm not worried about how that's going to lay out on the channel. So, and then the boxing, with Glory Days Boxing, I've got the scorecard laminated, so I'm not as worried about that. Whereas when I would put Title Bout 2 on the channel, I would have that toy wrestling ring in there with the John Cena and Roman Reigns action figures, just to help me represent theater of the mind, because I suck at theater of the mind. So that was a visualization. That was a visual representation for me to be like, okay, the fighters are against the near ropes, or they're in the far corner, or they're in the left neutral corner, whatever. So it's mostly a way to help me remember where everybody's at in the ring, and so I can track the advantages. But I think that was everything that I wanted to talk about tonight. So I apologize, Doug, that you're just stopping by and I'm about to wrap up. But if you guys have any questions, I'll hang out for a little bit if there's anything you want to chat about. But otherwise, I think we're going to call this a very quick stream there. So, still a lot of stuff coming up on the channel, where on Wednesday, we're going back to the Call of Cthulhu universe again, as we play Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Tide, and I'm expecting that to be a Wednesday night stream, probably starting between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. Tuesday, we're probably going to have something in honor of H.P. Lovecraft's birthday on the 20th, but I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. As of right now, I'm leaning toward Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Frost, so I can make sure I get all of the Call of Cthulhu adventures in on the month. So look for that probably also between, well, that might start a little bit later. That might be a 6 to 6:30 stream, just because I've got to have time to have dinner. But again, I'm not fully decided if I'm going live or not yet. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the official Ticket to Ride cookbook as we make the dessert, Peaches and Cream Crisp. As for next Sunday, we're going to continue my Tack Up Wargaming list with game number 7 as we play Warfighter World War II Pacific. Now, I've talked about it all month, where I have a reason for both schedule setting and placement on Warfighter, for both schedule placement and setting for Warfighter World War II Pacific. If you know Warfighter, and you know that this is Mythos month, you can probably guess where I'm going with schedule placement and setting. But if you're not sure on that, I will reveal all on Sunday. That might be a stream as well, because there's something else I'm looking at potentially putting on the channel. That'll be a rare Sunday morning stream, most likely. That would probably start between 7:30 and 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, so look for that then. As for this video, thank you for watching this video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.